uses. So we're not trying to be unreasonable. We're trying to be reasonable, and that's what we're asking you to take serious discussion. Please take this into consideration, and we urge your support today. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
You recognize.
Can I ask, what does this have, what does the government ownership of some lands, like conservation lands, have to do with private ownership of a land enough to get equity to buy a house? I mean, how does that threaten anyone's ownership of their own land? If, in other words, and if, second part of the question is, if you're for private property rights, then one of those rights is to be able to sell your land. We're not talking about any condemnation of land. We're talking about when there's a willing buyer and a willing seller. So what's wrong with that?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman.
You recognize.
Well, on to that issue, the state or government has an unfair with other buyers. I'm sorry. Otherwise, they have money. The federal government's got money. You all have money up here. So how does somebody, if I want to buy a piece of land that's maybe some swamp land, I can't compete with y'all. Y'all can come in and buy it, so it's not fair, okay, on that issue.
But for the person that owns it and wants to get their maximum return, isn't the more competition to buy that land the better?
Well, sure, it's better, but again,
okay.
so you're only looking at the one side.
So you want to maximize what your land is worth, so why would you want to limit who could buy your land?
Because now
the more buyers you have, the more that land is worth.
Right, now you're going to take that land off the tax rolls. It's not going to be used for productive purposes. And we are asking, just take a look. Does this serve a public service for everybody? This is a needed piece of property. Again, I think we're trying to be reasonable. You know, we're not saying you can't ever buy conservation land. We're just saying that there shouldn't there be some criteria?
Well, would you consider you and the people in your organization conservatives?
Sure.
Would it dawn on you that conservative and conservation are the same, from the same root word?
Well, yes, sir. Then you're saying that individuals should not be allowed to be conservationist. You're saying that only the government can protect land and keep it in good order. So you're saying individuals are they just can't do it. So we need to take it away from them, put it in government's hands, because people can't be good stewards of the land is what you're saying.
But we're not taking it away from anyone unless they want to sell it.
You're taking it off the rolls. It's government-owned versus private. It is a government versus private property issue. Because in Monroe County, there's only 3%. There's only 3% available for private property. Do you feel comfortable with 97% of Monroe County being owned by some level of government?
We don't answer the question. We ask the question.
So that thing that y'all work for us is not true, right? Y'all don't work for us. I get it. Okay.